So hello guys, my name is Max and welcome to this video. Today we're going to continue to develop our simple Tetris clone using JavaScript and HTML. So where we left off last time, we just got the basic sort of game board drawing where we can change and show all the statistics and later the game state itself and other stuff like that. So we'll start today's video by actually doing some refactoring, because we really don't want to clump up this Tetris class with too much work on it or too much logic inside of it. So we will refactor out all of the drawing logic to a new file or a new object that we'll call game board. So you can already now create this game board object on the Tetris class, and just instead of nonfont here we can actually require this file here. So let's create it. So you can just create a new file, game board.js, like that. Let's define this module. So we say define function. If I can spell function right, that would be great. And if I can just escape, yeah, anyway. So in here we say game board equals class.extend, like usual. And we just return it down here. So return a game board, like that. And inside of here you can create a constructor already. And it will also have a draw method at the moment here. And the draw method that take our context as a parameter. Anyway, so let's jump back into the Tetris class here, and then here there should actually be a regular semicolon there, I see. Anyway, we can just copy all of the drawing logic and copy that over to the game board. So let's see, paste that in there. And we can actually say this dot blocks here as well, because we'll need that later when we create more methods on this class here. Yeah, let's see. That looks quite good, at least my opinion. And then we just take all of the drawing logic. Instead of that, we just say this dot game board dot draw to the context, of course. So we go back here in game board, and in the draw we copy all of this, and it will also take the stat object. At least we can't really, since the game board won't have keep all of the statistics, so we can just change this data to actually can call it tet. Change this to smaller case here. Some other changes later on here. Anyway, so we can say var tet equals start.tetraminus. So tetraminus is all of the pieces, or the data for all the pieces we'll store later on, but tetraminus is called a piece, all of the different Tetris pieces in they're called tetraminus, and there are 7 of them in total. Anyway, so that's about it. Let's see here. Well, we can actually, yeah, let's do that soon here. We'll create this stat object first. So let's do that as well. So can say this dot stat equals new stat manager, like that. And let's require that module. So you say source stat manager, of course, right there. Then that will most likely just take that one, for example. So and then we just put out this stat to a second argument to that function, to draw function. So let's create a file right now. So we say stat manager, of course, again, define that module. Command manager, like that, class.extend. Let's return it here. Return stat manager. Constructor. It will call itself our method that called reset. So let's create a function. So say reset, like that, and then we change this to tetraminus. Change everything to 0. Change this to lowercase, so tot, like that. and we should actually be good to go, I think. So let's see here what we have done so far. Let's go back and see. So we refactor out the logic from the Tetris game, also from the Tetris class. So we now have a game board and a stat manager, which we have a function on the game board that we call draw, that take a context and a stat object as arguments. And then inside of the game board here, we got the tetraminos object of the stat object, or we get all the statistics for all of the tetraminos, and then we draw them to the back or to our image, or to the canvas, sorry. Anyway, so that should be working exactly the same now if we have done it correctly, but it really isn't. So let's see here, game board 13 num-font. Oh, we must require the num-font, of course, so you can say source num-font like that. Don't forget the comma there. Oops, num-font. Yeah, so we're now back to the exact same thing that we had before. But then, what is the main reason to have a stat manager, you might wonder? Well, for example, we can create other methods on the stat manager here, so like calculate the score from a different given level and other stuff like that. But one really good example is, for example, when we say can create a method here we can call inc tetramino. Tetramino, yes. Take an ID as an argument here, and you can say this dot tetraminos at that ID plus plus, or we can say plus equals 1, that's more clear. So we increment the tetraminos at that particular statistics post, and then we can say increment the total value as well. And by doing this, we will never forget to update the total object as at the same time as we update the ID here, for example. So that's make it not as easy for us to make mistakes like that we can ruin the game for us. So that's why we refactor out all of the logic to different classes in the game, and that we also what do you say? Yeah, and it's also for like make the game easier to read and more clear on what different parts of the code are doing here. Yeah, so what can we do from here? Well, we can actually go back here to the main class actually and change some stuff up here. So I decided, I did some testing before here, that we want to have a little inputs method that will get a bit in the way here. So they can just remove that function and remove the input argument to the update method instead. So let's do the same thing here. We remove this one and put the input object as an argument to the method right there instead. So we can actually implement this input object right now, but that we'll do in the engine here. So we can go all the way down to the bottom, and let's create this input object now. So we create this self-invoking function the same way we did with the content manager and the canvas element. So inside of here we can create this I object that will have all of the scope. So we just return the I object down here, so we won't forget that later. And we will have a bindings object private to this function, and a pressed object, a down object, then a released array like that. And even though we won't really use the mouse in this game, we can add a mouse object as well. So that's cool. So let's start here by declaring some some objects that we'll need for like enumerate different presses and keep track of different presses and stuff. So create buttons, and that's for the mouse buttons. So the left button will have the ID of -1, the middle button will have the ID of -2, and the right button will have the ID of -3. Then we create the keys object, and for now let's just have the space bar. So space, if you have watched any of my different other tutorials, you know that key code is 32. Then we have the left arrow, that's 37, up arrow 38, right arrow 39, and lastly the down arrow 40, like that. And then do we just loop with that character object right here, that will loop from 60 all the way up to 90 to get all of the key codes in the English alphabet. And then we just put them to the keys object here. So you say string.from shortcode and set that equal to the character code right there. So let's log out the keys object right now, just so we can see what that looks like. So let's see, why didn't that really print out? Let's see here. It should be printed. Oh, we're stuck in some loop. Yeah, I forgot the plus here. Sorry for that, guys. Let's just close this down, hopefully. Yeah, be right back, guys, when I figure it out. See you guys soon. Yeah, so I'm back, guys. I figured out a way to close the tab. Anyway, so now we can see there that we have the object here with every key code from 60 all the way up to set 90, which is set, and 60, which apparently was less than. But we are probably just interested from the 65 all the way up to 90, so they changed that. So we go from 65 all the way up to 90. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks better, at least in my opinion. Yeah, so now we can just say stuff like, if we want to figure out which key code B has, for example, 66 apparently, but then we can say stuff like keys.b to log that out. Or we can say T, for example, that's apparently 84 and all stuff like that. And that will be really handy later on. But so far, they're just available inside of this scope here. So we create them available on the I object as well here. So say I.buttons equals buttons and I.keys equals keys here. So that's cool. So let's start by creating our first method on the input variable here. So we can say bind key. That will be equal to a function right there. And then we can say action and keys. So we can take both arrays of keys and singular keys. So we can say if the type of keys is a number, then we just want to take the bindings at that key and set that equal to the action. Else we want to loop through all the keys. So we say for I equals 0, I is less than keys.length, I plus plus, don't forget the plus plus here, guys. And here we'll say bindings add keys add I equals to the action. So that was the first method right there. So let's create another method. This is a private method as well. So we say get code, take an event as an argument, and then we can say if let's actually do it what t equals e dot type. Let's say if t is equal to key down or t is equal to key up. Then we just want to return the key code like we have done normally in all previous games here. But here we can also listen for the button presses. So we say if t is equal to mouse down or t is equal to mouse up. Then we want to do a switch statement of the e.button, which button it was that was pressed. So I have cases here, so case 0, case 1, case 2, which in order is the left, middle and right button. So we just say return buttons left, for example. And there we change this to middle. And this to right here, of course. So this is so we can get codes later on. So here we can say function on down, take an event as an argument. Sorry for that. Here we can say var action equals bindings get code of the E here. So for example, if it was a mouse press, then it would return -1, -2, -3, because that's the IDs we store in this button objects. Or if it is a mouse key press, then it will just return the key code normally here. Anyway, but then if we don't have that bind that key to anything, then the action will be undefined. So we're going to say if not the action. So if it's for example, if it's undefined or null or 0 or something like that, but the 0 case we won't really care for that for now at least, but then we just want to return this function. Else we want to set the pressed of that action equal to the opposite of the down of that action. And then we always want to set the down of that action equals to true. So this means that the first time we press a key, then down will be false or undefined in this case. We will soon see that. So this will be true, and action will be true. But then if we call this function again, then this will have the value of true, so this will be evaluated as false, so we won't update the press over and over again. Anyway, and then we just want to prevent the default behavior here, so we say prevent default of the browser here, and that's just a JavaScript method that is on the event object. And this unup function is quite similar. So we say action equals bindings get code E again if no action return. But here we want to push that unup action to the released array, and I just prevent the default behavior again. So prevent default right there. And we'll also create another method that will say on context. That will be called when we right click on the canvas. So if you see here now, you can see when we right click on the canvas, this dialog comes up where we can save the picture and inspect the element. And we want to prevent that from happening if we have bind the right click to any event, so or an action I should say. So we say if bindings buttons the right, so if we have an action at that post here, we just want to prevent the default behavior again. So that's all of the event up and down events we want to capture, but we also want to capture the mouse movement of the mouse. So say on move, maybe I can say on mouse. No, let's say on move. Take an event as an argument. So we say L equals e.target, like that. Then we just make a do while loop, one of the rare cases where that is useful. So we say parent offset to get that stuff. Then we want to calculate the offset of the object. So we just want to say the offset in y direction, x direction to 0 at start here. So we say ox plus equals l dot offset left, of course. And now y plus equals l dot offset top, yes. Now we just want to update the mouse. We say mouse dot x equals e dot client minus our x, mouse dot y equals e dot client y minus our y, like that. And I just want to prevent the default behavior again. So that should be almost everything for input listener. So we just add some more methods here. So we say idle clear pressed. That we just loop through all of the released keys. We say var I equals 0, I is less than released or length, I plus plus, down, down, released at I equals false, and the press to a new object here, and then release to an empty array, like that. And then we have the pressed method. Take an action as an augment. I just want to return pressed if the if the button is pressed. We have that down as well. That we just return if the down has this action pressed, and then we have the released. If we can spell that right, released. Yeah, I think that's somewhat right spell. But instead, as an array, we want to return if the index, or we will check if it have that post. We say return released index of the action is greater or equal to 0. And if it don't exist, it will return -1, which is of course smaller than 0. So then it will return false. But if it has the index at some place in the array, it will return that index, and that is always greater than or equal than 0. So there's just one thing left to do here on the input thing here, and that is just to bind all of the methods here to the events on the document and on the canvas frame. So you can say canvas frame, and if you don't remember the canvas frame, that is this canvas here, the one that we click on and we draw to. Anyway, so you say canvas frame dot on mouse down equals on down, canvas frame dot on mouse up equals on up, canvas frame dot on mouse move on mouse move, yes, equals on move, yes. And then we have canvas frame dot on context menu equals on context, like that. And then we just want to bind the key down events here, or all the key presses. We say on key down equals on down, document dot on key up equals on up, document. And we also want to say, let's say that you click down on the canvas thing and then move out and released, then we will also want to catch that move. So you say on mouse up here as well, mouse up equals on up. So that should actually be it. So let's reload the page and see if we got any errors. No errors, so that's good. Let's see if the on context the function works. So you can just say all through here for now. So if you can see here now, I can right click on the thing, but when I reload the page, yeah, you can see that no menu pops up. So that means that that works at least. So we are now capturing all of the key states, or all of the key presses and all the stuff like that. So that's cool. So let's just move it through here. So yeah, what can we do from here? Well, we can go to the main. Let's bind all of the input presses. So you can say input or bind called space actually. Input dot keys dot space. And let's capture all of the other ones as well here. So we have left, up, right, and down. And then we'll change this to arrows, to the arrow counterpart. So we say arrow left, up, right, and down. And don't forget that we also need to call this clear pressed function every frame, so we can do that in the and that's the same concept that we have to call the canvas flip method each frame. So we can go to the game actually, go back to the game here, and then above or below the canvas flip, it really doesn't matter. We want to call input.clear pressed. Don't forget that, that's really important for it to work here. Anyway, so let's see if it works. So we can go to the Tetris now, for example, and here we can say if input.pressed space console log space is nice. Oh, sorry for that, guys. Yeah, sorry for that. I just got yeah, cough attack or something like that. So let's see if that works. Undefined is not a function. Let's see. Main 25. Oh, not bind. We won't say bind key, of course. Length of undefined. And 162. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, we want to call return here as well. That should work. Let's see here. Yeah, it's undefined somewhere as well. So we probably have misspelled there. Down arrow. Oh. We have them sorry, in the as suffixes here, but inside of the main I put them at the start. So my bad. You change that like that and it should be good to go. Yeah. So now when I press space, yeah, space is nice, it's printed out. So let's see if the other ones works as well. Can say down. Yeah, you can see when I hold down the space bar, the message is printed out, and the release as well. So you can see released. It's really not that common to use that, but when I release the key, yeah, it shows to the canvas or they print out the message. So that's cool. Just to see if it works with the mouse events as well. Let's actually log out the input, the mouse.x, for example. And then in the back at the main here, let's bind several keys to the space event. So you can say input buttons dot right. So now when I right click on the canvas, oh, we didn't show that on the global here as well. So you say idle mouse equals mouse. Let's see. Yeah, so now when I press here, when I right click on the canvas, you can see that the X coordinate is printed out, and the same goes for the space bar. Yeah, so we now have a working input handler. Quite easy or quite functional and really useful to use here. Sorry, I just need to drink it. Yeah, so finally we can continue with the game here. But before we do that, I just need to take a break, so be right back, guys. Yeah, so I'm back, guys. So now a working way of capturing all the inputs on the page and the mouse presses and all the stuff like that and the movement of the mouse. So that's good. So now we can finally move on to finishing the game, or to start developing the game at least. Anyway, so let's just get rid of this for now. And let's go to main here and let's remove the binding of the right button press here. Well, but let's actually, come on. You could actually like use to capture the what do you say, the WASD as well. So let's see, left, that's A, I think, yes, up W, then D here, and down is S, of course. So now we can both control with the arrow keys and with the WASD or whatever, however you say that acronym. Yeah, so let's finally get some tetraminos on the page. So let's create a new file.